Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to this live session by Create Learning. So, it's a Saturday afternoon, and I'm actually glad that all of you are here to upskill yourselves on a Saturday. And it actually, it actually makes us feel good that you are focused about your career and you'd want to learn more even during weekends. So, to all the folks who are attending this session right now, thank you very much. And again, a pretty customary thing. So, just let me know if you can see my screen and if you can hear my voice. Just give me a confirmation in the chat if everything is proper or not. And in the meanwhile, I'd like to let you know about Great Learning's free learning platform called as Great Learning Academy. So this is Great Learning Academy right in front of you. And over here, you would see that Great Learning Academy offers multiple courses with respect to data science, machine learning, cloud computing, big data, digital marketing, and you also have a lot of other courses available. And all of these courses have been created by industry experts. And once you complete these courses, you'll get a certificate and you can go ahead and add that certificate onto your LinkedIn page or onto your resume, which will be a huge value add to you folks. And you will be able to find the link for Great Learning Academy in the chat. So someone from the Great Learning's team would be putting up the link for Great Learning Academy over here. And also, let's say if you do not have your laptop with you right now and you would want to learn through a phone, we also have the Great Learning app. So you can download the Great Learning app and you can learn all of these courses from there as well. So our aim is to bring you all of these new technologies through whatever medium we can. And that is why we are providing you Great Learning Academy and also the app for Great Learning Academy. And I want this session to be very interactive. So if you have any doubts, any suggestions, any queries, you can go ahead and put them up in the chat. Be assured that I will take up as many questions I can in the 1 hour of time that we have. So on that note, so to all the folks who are new to our channel and haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and also click on the bell icon as you'll be notified whenever we come up with our new videos. And also it will encourage us to regularly take these live sessions and also upload comprehensive tutorials so that your learning never stops. So please do subscribe, also hit the bell icon. And if you like these sessions, please do share these with your peers or with your friends so that even they can come to our channel and learn all of these courses. And also, if you haven't yet liked the video, please do that. So I see that there's a watching of 72 and we've got only 19 likes. So if you can quickly get that up to 72 likes, that would be much appreciated. So if you can get the number of likes to 72 within the next 5 minutes, that would be amazing. So on that note, we will start off with today's session. So in today we have a football dataset, a FIFA dataset, and we'll be exploring the FIFA 2020 dataset. And before we actually perform exploratory data analysis on top of that, let's actually learn about few of the libraries which we'll be using over here. So I will quickly open up my presentation over here. So we would require a few libraries called as numpy, pandas, and matplotlib because these are the libraries which we'll be using to perform exploratory data analysis. So here, as you see, first we'll start off with numpy, which stands for numerical Python, and it is used for performing numerical computation and scientific computation. And now, whenever you are dealing with data, you'd have to store a lot of data into something. So for that purpose, NumPy provides you single dimensional as well as multi-dimensional NumPy arrays. And now let's actually see how to create these NumPy arrays using using this library called as NumPy. So what we'll do is first we'll see how to create this single dimensional NumPy array. And first we'll go ahead and import the NumPy library. So I'll write down import NumPy as np, and once we import NumPy, then I'd have to create a simple NumPy array. So I will write down np.array, and inside that I will pass in a list of values. So here you see that I have passed in 10, 20, 30 and 40, and that I've stored in this object called as n1, and I have printed it out. So when I print out n1, I have these values 10, 20, 30 and 40. So this is just a simple single dimensional NumPy array which we have created. Then we will go ahead and create a multi-dimensional NumPy array. So to create a multi-dimensional NumPy array, here you see that np.array, inside this I will pass in a list of lists. So here you see that I have the outer list, and inside this I have two more lists. So the inner list I have, first I have 10, 20, 30 and 40. Then I have 40, 30, 20 and 10. So here when I pass in these two lists, you would see that in this NumPy array, the first row comprises of these values and the second row comprises of these values. And this is how we have created a two-dimensional NumPy array. And now let's go ahead and create the single dimensional and multi-dimensional NumPy arrays. So I will go ahead to Jupyter Notebook and I will create a new notebook over here, new Python 3 notebook, and let me quickly write down import numpy as np, and let's just wait for this library to load. Now I will create an array, so I'll write down np.array, and inside this I'll just pass in a list of values. So this will be, let's say I just pass in 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then I go ahead and store it in this object called as n1. Then I print it out. So n1 is what I have. Then let me just go ahead and check the type of it. So type of n1, I hit on run, you would see that this is a numpy nd array. So here what is nd array? Nd is n dimensional array, and what is the dimension over here? It is a single dimension. So now let me go ahead and create a two-dimensional numpy array. So the same process, what I'd have to do is write down np.array, and inside this I will create this outer list. Then I will create this inner list over here, and I will create also the second list. Now in the first list, let me just pass in maybe some random values over here. So I've given 53731. Inside this also I'll just pass in some 5 random values which are 46123, and I'll go ahead and store it in this object called as n2. I'll hit run. So this has to be small. Now I'll again execute this, and let me print out n2 for you guys. And as you see, I have created this two-dimensional array. The values which are there in this first list have been stored as the first row over here, and the values which are there in the second list have been stored in the second row over here. So extremely simple stuff, nothing complicated over here. So we've just learned how to create a simple NumPy array. And now we'll see how to create a NumPy array where all of the values are equal to 0. So let's say if you want a NumPy array with a particular set of dimensions and all of the values have to be equal to 0. For this purpose, we will be using this method called as zeros. And here, as you see, again, we'll import the library. Then we will be using the zeros method. So I write down np.zeros, and inside this, As you see, I set the dimensions. So the dimensions are 1, 2, which basically means I would want a numpy array of which the dimensions are 1, 2. So 1 row, 2 columns. And this I go ahead and store in this object called as n1. Then I print out n1 over here. And as you see, I have created a 1 cross 2 numpy array where the values are equal to 0. Then similarly, if I would want to create a 5 cross 5 numpy array, sure, as you see, np.zeros, inside this I pass in 5, 5, and when I print this out, you would see that I have created a 5 cross 5 numpy array where all of the values are equal to 0. Let me go back and I'll just quickly add a comment over here. I'll write down np.zeros, and what I'll do is, let me actually use this now inside this. Let's say if I would want to create a 3 cross 3 numpy array where all of the values are equal to 0, and maybe I'll just store it in this object called as n0. Now let me print out n0 for you guys, and you would see that this is a 3 cross 3 numpy array where all of the values are equal to 0. So extremely simple stuff over here. Now, this was a brief intro to NumPy. Then we will also be working with this library called as pandas. And let's just quickly head to that. So let me quickly open up pandas. So as you see, pandas is again a library which is used for data manipulation and data wrangling. So if you want to do any sort of data wrangling, then pandas should be a go-to library. So as NumPy provided us single dimensional and multi-dimensional arrays, pandas also provides us single dimensional as well as multi-dimensional data structures. And those single dimensional data structures in pandas are known as the series objects, and the multi-dimensional objects are known as the data frames. So let's just start off with the series object. So series object is not really that important from the point of view of today's lecture. But then again, I'll just give you guys a brief intro to what a series object is. So it is a single dimensional labeled array. So when it came to NumPy, you did not have labels. It was just a simple array. When it comes to a series object, it is a labeled array. And again, this is of single dimension. And first, to work with series, we'd have to import the pandas library. So I'll write down import pandas as PD. Now after I import this, I would need the series method. So I will write down pd.series. So here you need to keep in mind that S has to be capital, and inside this I pass in the list of values which are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And this I go ahead and store in this object called as S1. And when I print this out, you would see that I have printed out these values, and you have these labels on the left side. These labels are nothing but the index. So at index 0, you have the value 1, index 1, you have the value 2, index 2, you have the value 3, and so on. And when you check the type of this, the type of S1, this tells you that it is a pandas.core.series.series, which essentially means that this is a series object. Let me head back, and I'll add a comment over here. I'll write down pandas series, and I'll have to import pandas over here. So I'll write down import pandas as PD. Now again, let's just wait for a brief while for this library to load. And while this is loading, let me just also write in the next line over here. So I need to create a series object. Inside this, again, I'll just randomly put in some values. So let's say I have 52497, and I'll go ahead and store it in S1. I'll quickly hit on run, and let me just print out S1 for you folks. Then I'll go ahead and check the type of this. So type of S1, when I hit on run, you would see that this is a series object. So again, at index 0, you have the element 5, index 1, element 2, index 2, element 4, and so on. And this is how this is progressing. So simple stuff, isn't it? And then we have something called as a data frame, where you have rows and columns. So let's just head to the data frame side of things. So here As you see, a data frame, you have rows and columns, and this is, if you have worked with SQL, then you would know about tables. So you can consider that a data frame is analogous to tables in SQL. And what we are doing over here is creating a data frame from a dictionary. So I will write down pd.dataframe, and here you'd have to keep in mind that D and F are capital. So when I write down pd.dataframe, you'd have to ensure that D and F are capital because Python is case sensitive. And inside this, I will pass in a dictionary. In the dictionary, the first key value pair, I have name. Name is the key, and then I pass in a list of names. Then the next key is marks, and then I have a list of values over here, list of marks over here. And if you see in the result, you would see that these keys, name and marks, have been turned as the column names, and these values over here have been stored as the records. So name over here becomes the column name, marks over here becomes the column name, these values over here become the records under the column name, these values become the records under the column marks. So simple stuff till now. Let's just head back. I'll add another comment over here. I will write down pandas data frame. I'll hit run, and what I'd have to do is create a data frame. So I'll write down pd.dataframe, and inside this I'd have to pass in dictionary. So I'll quickly give in these curly braces over here. First I need to give in a name, so I'll write down name over here, then I need to pass in a list of values. So let's say the name of the first student is Liv, the name of the second student is Daniel, name of the third student is Phil. Then I'll go ahead and give in a list of marks. So I'll create another key called as marks, and let me add in the marks. So let's say Liv has scored 89 marks, Daniel has scored 95 marks, and Phil has scored 72 marks. And if I just quickly hit on run, you would see that I've created this data frame. Now, there's one more library, but then again, I guess we can learn that library through the case study itself. So I just wanted to give you guys a brief intro to the libraries which we are working with. So what I'll do is I'll quickly head on to the chat and see if there are any questions. So some of you folks are asking for the CSV file and the datasets. So there would be a link in the description in the chat windows. You can click that link and you'll be able to find the code file and also the dataset which is being used in today's session. Kajal is asking, could you tell the variables of Python? When you say variables, so you have the basic primitive data types and then you have the data structures. So when we talk about the primitive data types, these are essentially your integer, floating point, character, and complex values. When you talk about data structures, you have tuple, list, set, and dictionary. So I guess this is what you'd wanted to know. But then again, if you want me to explain all of these in a detailed manner, I don't think I'll be able to do that because the agenda for today's session is completely different. And if you want to learn more about the data structures which are there in Python, you can check out our other videos. So you can go to our channel and there are a lot of comprehensive Python videos where you'll be able to learn all of these. Neeru Gupta is asking, when will Blender tutorial come? Neeru, we are working on it. So maybe you can wait another couple of weeks and you will have the Blender tutorial ready. Spot of Cartoon was asking me to speak in Hindi. So unfortunately, today's session is in English. So today I will be teaching in English. And if you'd want to understand in Hindi, then in that case, you can just head to Great Learning Academy over here, and you can just see when are the next scheduled live sessions. So you will get the list of all the live sessions which are scheduled, and you can join in whichever live session that you'd want to attend. Okay, some of you folks are saying that the CSV file is still not added, so maybe we'll add the CSV file after the session is done. So you don't have to worry about that. So for now, you can just you can just focus on what is being taught, and then you will get the case study over there. Be assured of that. Santosh Kumar is saying, let's get into the case study. Absolutely. So we'll not waste a lot of time. I've given you a brief intro to the libraries. We can head into the case study. And also to the folks who have just joined in, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe and also hit on the bell icon, as it will let you know whenever we are coming up with our new live sessions or new videos. So please do subscribe, please do hit the bell icon. And also I see that there's a watching of 95 and there are only 60 likes. So if we can quickly get to 95 likes, that would be great. So guys, all of you, hit the like button. That would help us a lot. So as we create all of these courses for free, we do not charge any money from you. All we're asking for you to is like the video, as YouTube algorithm works in such a way that if there are more number of likes, more people get to know that there's a live session happening right now. And if people are interested to learn about this stuff, they can join in as well. So please go ahead and like this video. And on that note, we will not waste more time and we will head on to our case study. So here we have the FIFA 20 dataset, and we'll be performing exploratory data analysis on top of this dataset. And now we would have to import all of the required libraries. So we are importing pandas for data manipulation, obviously. Then we have matplotlib and seaborn. So matplotlib is a library which is used for data visualization. Seaborn is also a library which is used for data visualization. So seaborn you can consider as it's an extension of matplotlib. Extension in the sense that seaborn is built on top of matplotlib. So these are the three libraries which I would need, and what I'll do is I'll actually restart the kernel so that you're not able to see the output initially. So for you it will be much more easier to understand. Now I'll hit on run and let's wait for these libraries to load. It'll just take a bit of time over here. Right, so we have loaded the required libraries. Then going ahead, we have this file called as players20.csv. So this is a file which I have already loaded in Jupyter Notebook. And to read a CSV file, we would need this method called as read_csv, and this method read_csv is a part of the pandas library. So here, since I have loaded pandas, so I'll write down pd.read_csv, and inside this I will give in the name of the file, which is players20.csv, and I will go ahead and store it in this object called as FIFA, and I'll just hit on run. Now if I would want to have a glance at the first 5 records which are there, so I need to use the head method. So by default, this head method gives you the first 5 records which are there in this data frame. So FIFA.head, and here you would see that you have all of these different columns. So you have the FIFA ID, you have the player URL. So if you'd, so this is a column which just gives you the home page or the description of this player over here. Then you have the short name of this player. So here you have El Messi, obviously Messi. Long name is Lionel Messi. You have Cristiano Ronaldo, and you have Cristiano Ronaldo's long name. You have Neymar, you have Oblak, you have Eden Hazard. And here this column obviously tells you the age of this person. Here you have the date of birth. Then you have the height in centimeters of this player, and the weight in kilograms of this player. Then you have the nationality. So Messi is obviously from Argentina, Ronaldo we all know is from Portugal, Neymar is from Brazil, Eden Hazard is from Belgium, and these are the clubs for which these folks play. Cristiano Ronaldo, he plays for Juventus, Messi plays for Barcelona, Neymar plays for PSG, Eden Hazard plays for Real Madrid. Then you've got all of these different stats over here. So for now, we'll just leave out those stats. So let's actually see how many columns are present in this particular data frame right now. So what we'll do is I will start a for loop and I would want to know all of the columns which are present. So what I'll write down is for call in FIFA.columns, and I will print out each of the column which is present in this entire data frame. So for call in FIFA.column, so what will happen is it will iterate from the first column. So it will start from this first column and it will go to the last column over here, and we are printing all of the columns which are present over here. So for call in FIFA.columns, print of call, when I hit on run, you would see that these are all of the columns which are present. You have FIFA ID, player URL, short name, long name, age, date of birth, height in centimeters, weight in kg, and so on. So you have a lot of columns over here. Now I'd want to know how many records are there and how many columns are actually present in this data frame. So for that purpose, I will use this shape method. I'll write down FIFA.shape and I will hit on run. And you would see that there are 18,278 records in 104 columns. So this is actually a huge data set. So I mean, for performing a simple case study. So here 18,278 records would mean that you have a list of 18,278 players in this entire data frame, and 104 columns are just the different features with all of these different players. So we've looked at the shape, and there is this column called as nationality in our data frame. So here, if you go up, you would see that there's this nationality column, and I would want to see how many players belong to which particular country over here. So since nationality is a categorical column, and if I want to understand more about a categorical column, I can use the value counts method. The value counts method gives me a frequency count of the different categories which are present. So what I'll do over here is first I'll give in the name of the data frame, which is FIFA. Then I'll inside the parenthesis, I'll give in the name of the column, which is nationality. Then I'll use the dot operator and use the value counts method. And when I run this, this is what I get. So you see that in this particular data frame, most of the players are from England. So you have 1,667 players from England. Then you have 1,216 players from Germany, and you have 1,035 players from Spain. Then you have 984 players from France, then followed by 886 players in Argentina. So this basically tells you that in this data set, you have a lot of players from England, and that could also be a reason because you have you have more number of clubs participating in the English Premier League. So you also have all of these relegation zones. So you have tier 1 clubs, you have tier 2 clubs, you have tier 3 clubs. So maybe this data frame comprises of all of the players belonging to tier 1, tier 2 as well as tier 3. And that could tell you why why there are more number of players belonging to England. Then if I would, so let's say from this entire result, if I would only want to have a glance at the first 10 records or the top 10 countries where most of the players belong to, what I'll do is I'll write down FIFA nationality dot value counts, And again, I'll just give in 0 to 10 inside this, and when I hit on run, you would see that. So most of the players belong to these 10 countries over here. Again, at the top, you have England, Germany, and Spain. Then let's say instead of top 10, if I would only want to have a glance at the top 5, so over here I'll write down 0:5, and you would see that I have these 5 countries. I have England, Germany, Spain, France, and Argentina. Now, I would want to make a bar plot for these top 5 countries where most of the players come from. So, if I would want to make a bar plot, I would need to use this library called as matplotlib, and we have seen that we have imported the submodule which is pyplot, and we have given it an alias of plt. So here, first I need to set the figure size. So as you see, I'm setting the figure size over here, plt dot figure, and inside this fig size is a parameter inside this method, and using this parameter I set the dimensions of the image. And as you see, I set the dimensions to be equal to 8,5. Now once I set the dimensions, then I go ahead and create the bar plot using plt dot bar. And when I write down plt.bar, you have all of these different parameters over here. So when we are creating a bar plot, the first parameter which we give inside it should be the categorical values. Now, after that, what we do is we give in the numerical entries over here. So what we do is first, if we say categorical entries, these are the categorical values over here. Now, if I only use dot value counts method, that gives me these categorical values along with these numerical values. But what if I only want the categorical values, only the names of the countries? So in that case, what I can do is I can use the keys method. So here, as you see, till here the command is the same: FIFA nationality dot value count 0 to 5. Then I am using the dot keys method over here, and I will hit on run, and you would see that I am able to extract the names of these top 5 countries without the values. And since I need to pass in categories as my first parameter, this code is what I'm passing in as the first parameter over here. Then going ahead, the next value is the same command without the keys method. Then going ahead, I have another parameter called as color, and I set the color to be equal to green. So G is, again, it's just a short form for the green color. So I have first passed in the categorical entries, then I've passed in the numerical entries, then I have passed in the color over here. Then I hit on run. So here you see that this is the bar plot which we have created, and it's pretty evident, isn't it? This is what we saw in the list as well. So most of the players, they are from England. Then you have around 1200 odd players from Germany. Then you have 1000 odd players from Spain. Then you have France and Argentina falling behind. So let me again head to the chat and see if there are any questions or any suggestions. So guys, I want this session to be quite interactive. So if you have any doubts, if you have any queries, please keep them coming. I'll see how many of these questions can I actually take up. Santosh is asking, how do we know to set the size of figure? So this is arbitrary. So you can give in any values over here. So let's say instead of 8,5, if I give in 5,5 and hit on run, this is what I get. So you don't have a standard fixed size for the plot which you're creating. So whatever looks good, so that is what you will use over here. Some of you folks are saying that the dataset is not available right now, so we will update the dataset in the code file once the session is done. So you do not have to worry about that. Avinash is asking how to open Jupyter Notebook on Android. Well, personally, well, I do not know myself. If you can actually run, if you have an app which helps you run Jupyter Notebook on an Android phone, so you can you can, if you have figured out something, you can let us know in the chat. So that would be helpful for everyone. Vinay Jain is asking, is it necessary to store the data in dictionary type? If you're asking about creating a pandas data frame from a dictionary, no, not really. So you can create a data frame from any of the other data structures as well. So Yash is asking, is it always the case that value counts will give the data in the sorted manner? Yes, you're right, Suyash. It will always give you the data in a sorted manner. Anand Suresh Kumar is asking, can we use dot index instead of dot keys? Well, let's see what actually that does. So now here, if I maybe use dot index, let's see what does that give over here. So as you see, it gives the same result. So, maybe we can actually use dot index instead of dot keys. But then again, dot keys, it is more intuitive, isn't it? So this basically comes down to you, whatever you'd want to use, that would be better. So if you have any more questions, please put them up in the chat. Some of you folks are asking if this video will be available once the live session is done. Yes. So let's say even if you're not able to watch the live session right now because of some work, that is fine. You can rewatch the session later on, because all of the live sessions which we do, they will be stored as it is on YouTube. So you can come back whenever you're free and rewatch it. Right, so on that note, I'll again head back to our course. So guys, again, to the folks who have just joined, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe and also hit the bell icon, because that would be, that would be very helpful to us, and that is how we'll be able to reach more people. And also, if you haven't yet liked the stream, please go ahead and like the video and also share it with your friends. That would be much more helpful. So there's a watching of 102 and there are only 97 likes. So if you can quickly like the video and increase the number of likes, that would be awesome. Great. So right now we have looked at the nationality column. Now we will go ahead and do some more analysis. So we have the wage in euro column. Now I'll just show you if we can. So now as you see, like some of the columns wouldn't be listed over here because this is a huge data frame, but we have this column called as wage underscore euro. So this tells me the salary of these players in euros, and I'd want to see I'd actually want to see over here which player gets, what is the salary of some of these players. So what I'd want to do is, from the entire FIFA data frame, I'd want to extract only two columns. The first column would be the short name of the player, and the second column would be the wage in euro. And this I will go ahead and store in this object called as player salary. Now that I have created this sub data frame from my original data frame, then I would want to have a glance at the first 5 records of this. So here, player salary dot head, I will click on run. Here you see that in the first column I have the short name of the player, and in the second column I have the salary of the player. And here, as you see, Lionel Messi, his wage is, you have 65,000 euros. Then you have Ronaldo with 405,000 euros. Neymar is at 290,000 euros, Oblak is 125,000 euros, and Eden Hazard is at 470,000 euros. So I'm not sure if these are the latest salaries which these players get, but according to this particular data frame, it would seem that Eden Hazard and Lionel Messi actually get more salary than Cristiano Ronaldo. And now, what we will do is I'd want to see who is the highest paid football player. So from this data frame, from this sub data frame, what I'd want to do is I would want to sort this with respect to the wage column. So what I'll do is I'll write down player salary dot sort values, and inside this I have this parameter called as by, and what I'm doing is I'm just sorting this data frame with this column called as wage underscore euro, and I'll set ascending is equal to false because I would want that player with the highest salary at the top, and that is how it will proceed. And this again I'm storing it back in the same object called as player salary, and I'll go ahead and hit on run. Now I will have a glance at the first few records of this. So when I say player salary dot head, so obviously as you see over here, Lionel Messi is the highest paid football player at 565,000 euros. Then you have Eden Hazard at 470,000 euros, Ronaldo at 405,000, Kevin De Bruyne at 370,000. You have Griezmann at 370,000 euros. So quite an interesting analysis, isn't it? So again, we will do the same thing. We will make a bar plot for these top 5 football players with the highest salaries. And since we have these categorical entries over here, we would have to make a bar plot. So you have to understand why we're using a bar plot. So normally whenever we do want to understand the distribution of a categorical entity, that is when we go ahead and make a bar plot. So here what we are doing is first the same thing, we will set the figure size. So Apurva over here is asking me to repeat the bar plot again. So that is what I'm doing right now. So this time we are creating a bar plot for the players with highest salaries. Here as you see, first I am setting the figure size. So I'll write down plt.figure. Inside this I'm setting the figure size using this parameter called as fig size, and I given these dimensions. So the dimensions are 8, 5. 8, 5, 8 is the width, 5 is the height. So I've given the dimensions of the figure. Now after I set the dimensions of the figure, I can just go ahead and create a bar plot. So to create a bar plot, I'd have to write down plt.bar. Inside this, so in a bar plot, always remember that the first parameter which you given has to be the categorical entries. The second parameter which you given has to be the numerical entries. So here the first parameter, since it has to be capital, it has to be categorical. What I do is I would have to, so we have a categorical column, we have a numerical column. So obviously it is the names of the players which will be passing in over here. So this basically is your x-axis. So on the x-axis we would need the names of the players. So I'll extract this particular column. So this short name column is from player salary data frame. So I'll write down player salary, and I given the name of the column which is short name, and obviously I'd want only the top 5 records, so I'll given 0 to 5 inside this. Then I will go ahead and in the next parameter, as you see, I have a wage in euro. So again, since it has to be numerical, this time I'm extracting the wage in euro column, and I'll go ahead and set the color over here. So color as you see is equal to red. Then I will go ahead and plot it out. I will hit on run. And as you see, this is the result which we get. So on the x-axis we have the names of the players, and on the y-axis we have the salaries. So Lionel Messi obviously is leading the chart. Then you have Eden Hazard, Cristiano Ronaldo, Kevin De Bruyne, and Annie Griezmann. Now let's say if I would want different colors for all of these different bars over here, so that is something which we can also do. Now let's say instead of just keeping this as red, if I would want different colors, so what I'll do is I'll pass in a list of colors over here. So for Lionel Messi, let's say I give in blue color. Then for, let me just keep it small b. So for Lionel Messi, I'm keeping blue color. For Eden Hazard, I'll give green color. Then for Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe I'll give in red color. Then for Kevin De Bruyne, I'll give, let's make it pink. And finally for Griezmann, let's keep it, let's say orange. And let's hit run. Seems like we have an error over here. The spelling which I've given is incorrect, so let me just keep pink and I'll hit on run, and as you see, this is the result which we get. So we can change the colors which are there in all of these bars as well. Now what I'd want to do is I'd want to do a simple analysis for the players who belong to Germany. So what I'm doing is, so let's say if I from this FIFA data frame, if I set the nationality is equal to Germany and I hit on run, I get a bunch of true and false values. So when you have these bunch of true and false values, what does this actually mean? So if you have a false over here, this means that in that particular record, the nationality of the player is not equal to Germany. And if it is actually equal to true, then it would mean that the nationality of the player is Germany. So what I'd want to do is, from this list, I would want to extract all of those records where the value is actually true. So I will take this command and I will paste it again inside the FIFA data frame, and I will store it in this object called as Germany, and then I'll print it out. So I'll write down Germany.head. And if I would want to have a glance at the first 10 records of it, so Germany.head, inside parenthesis, I'll write down 10 and I will hit on run. And this is the result which we'll get over here. So as you see, this is the list of all of the players whose nationality is Germany. And now what I'd want to know is, I would want to see who is the tallest German player. So Germany.sort values, I will use by, and I would want to sort this with the height in centimeters column, and I will set ascending is equal to false, and I would only want to have a glance at the top 5 records. So I would want the top 5 tallest players of German nationality, and I'll hit on run over here. And as you see, so you have Aaron Seidel right now as the tallest player of German nationality. His height is 199 centimeters. Then you have Michael Esser, whose height is 198. You have Lars Unestal, whose height is 198 again. Then you have Dominic. Then you have Lucas. So these are the players with the, these are the tallest players. Then similarly, let's say if I would want to sort these German players according to their weight, I would want to see which player has the maximum weight. So again, this will be similar. I'd have to write down Germany.sort values, and I would have to sort it with respect to weight, and ascending, I'll set it to be false, and I'll hit on run. This time you would see that weight over here, so it's Lucas Woltowiak, who has the highest weight of 103 kgs. Then again you have Lars Unestal, whose weight is 103 kg. Then you have Ralph Farman. Then again you have Michael Esser, and you have Nicholas Sule. Then I would want to see who is the highest paid German player. So this time I have the wage in euro column and I am sorting it with respect to the wage in euro. Ascending is equal to false and dot head method. Now if I show you these players, let's see what are these names. So Tony Cruz is the highest paid German player and he plays for Real Madrid. So obviously if you're playing for Madrid or Barcelona, you would be paid a lot. Then you have Marc-Andre Stegen and he plays for Barcelona, so he's the second highest player. And then you have Leroy Sané who plays for Manchester City. Then you have LK who plays for Manchester City as well. Then you have Thomas Müller who plays for Bayern Munich. So top 5 players of German nationality who have the maximum wages. Now again what I want to do is I just want to make a simple data frame again. So I just want what I want is I would want 2 columns. The first column should have the name of the player, the short name of the player. The second column needs to have the wage in euros, and I would want to sort this with their salaries. So Germany, from this data frame, I'm selecting only short name and wage, and then I'm sorting this data frame by their salaries, and obviously I'm sorting this in descending order, and I would want to have a glance at the top 5 records. Now if I click on run, you would see that this is what I get. So obviously it is Tony Cruz whose salary is 330,000 euros. Then Stegen has 250,000. Then you have Sani at 195, and at 5th place you have Müller at 170,000 euros. Now after this, what I want to do is from the original data frame, I would want to see who has the best rating for his shooting skills. So what I'll do is from the FIFA data frame, I'll extract only 2 columns. The first column is short name. The second column is shooting. And I'll extract these 2 and I'll store them in this object called as player shooting. I'll hit on run and I'll go ahead and sort it again. Now when I hit on run, you would see that Cristiano Ronaldo has the highest rating for his shooting skills, so he's got a rating of 93. Then you have Lionel Messi, then you have Harry Kane, then you have Sergio Aguero, and you have Quagliarella. So these are the top 5 players with highest shooting skills. Now similarly, I'd want to see which player has the maximum defending skills. So player defending. So this time from the original FIFA data frame, I'll be extracting the short name, the defending column, which would tell me his defending skills, the rating for his defending skills. I have his nationality and I also have the club for which this person plays for, player defending. And now I would want to sort this by his defending skills. So obviously player defending dot sort values, by is equal to defending, and this has to be in descending order. Then I'll hit on run. So you see that you have Chiellini who plays for Juventus, and he's from Italy. He's got the maximum defending skills. Then you have Van Dijk. Van Dijk plays for Liverpool and his nationality is Netherlands. Then you have Kulibli, then you have Gordon, and you have Hummels over here. So Hummels plays for Dortmund. And then finally what I'd want to do is I'd want to analyze the list of players who play for Real Madrid. So Madrid is one of the topmost football clubs across the world, and I'd want to see what makes this club so special. I'd want to analyze the some of the features of different players over there, and that would be the final analysis for today. So what we'll do is from the original data frame, which is FIFA, I will set the club value to be equal to Real Madrid. So from the original data frame, we are extracting only those records where the value is equal to Real Madrid, and that I'll go ahead and store in this object called as Real Madrid again. Now I would want to see who is the highest paid player in Real Madrid. So Real Madrid dot sort values, and I would want to sort it with respect to the wage in euro column. And when I hit on run, you would see that Eden Hazard is the highest paid player in Real Madrid currently. Then you have Luka Modric. So Luka Modric is the second highest paid. Then you have Toni Kroos, Sergio Ramos, and Karim Benzema. So Eden Hazard plays for Belgium, Luka Modric plays for Croatia, Toni Kroos plays for Germany, Sergio Ramos plays for Spain, and Benzema plays for France. And now we have looked at who are the highest paid players in Real Madrid. Now let's also see who has the best shooting skills in Real Madrid currently. So Real Madrid dot sort values, and I would have to sort it with respect to the shooting column. Ascending is equal to false because again I'd have to sort it in a descending order. And as you see, Gareth Bale has the best shooting skills currently in Real Madrid. Then you have Jimmy Rodriguez, who is the second best shooter, followed by Eden Hazard. Then you have Karim Benzema. Then you have Luka Jovic. Finally, I'd want to see who are the best defenders in Real Madrid. So Real Madrid dot sort values, by is equal to defending, and I'll hit on run. And here, as you see, so it seems that Sergio Ramos is the best defender in Real Madrid currently. Then you have Casemiro, after that you have Varane, then you have Carvajal, and finally you have Militao. So these are the top 5 defenders currently who are playing for Real Madrid. And I'd want